So could you please tell us a little bit about your job and what you do?
Okay, my job is looking after passengers, keeping them safe, issuing tickets and helping them with their go cards and their travel and their destination. So I'm a customer service officer.
Great. How do you think public transport could be improved?
We do have a lot of public transport in Brisbane, and I think we do a really good job with what we've got on offer, and we're always doing surveys and updates to monitor where passengers need to travel and how often they need to travel. So I don't really see much room for improvement, except maybe in the nightclub precinct, to getting people who are out on the town, looking after them safely. That's what the only thing change I see needs to be put in place to make sure young people are going out, having a good time, but also getting home safely.
Do you feel public transport is efficient, and why?
I do think it's very efficient, and the reason why, because I know personally with the City Cats, we have 12 to 15 minute services running almost all of the time every day, and we also have 5 to 6 minute intervals at peak periods, so I don't think you could really improve that anymore. I think we've got it all covered there with the City Cats, and I know the buses do a good job and trains, but I can't really speak for them, but just from previous experience, I think that it's very good service.
And does the council have a big influence or play a big role on public transport?
The council does. I know with regards to our service that we offer, the council play a big role in keeping up to date with changes and the stops, keeping up to date with who's coming at the stops, whether we're getting larger crowds, smaller crowds, major events in the city. So they play a major role in helping us move people around the city.
Why do you think the government puts enough? Do you think government puts enough money into public transport?
Well, not knowing how much they put into public transport, it's a bit hard for me to answer. And just looking at what has developed on the river with all of the pontoons and all the upgrading and the upgrading of the City Cats. Personally, I can see that there's a lot going on the river. But one thing I'd like to see is that we have a service in place that looks after the disadvantaged or the elderly on off-peak time. I'd like to see the City Cats full with the disadvantaged, the low income or the elderly on off-peak, so that they can ride between say 9 and 3 p.m. free, because they've contributed a lot and it'd be a good way for the city to give back.
Do you think people catch public transport according to the weather?
Yes, they do. They do catch public transport according to the weather. Obviously, the business commuters have to get to work. We do find that a lot of them go via private transport during the really bleak weather. But the patronage drops off a little bit, but we still have a lot of solid users during the peak time in bleak weather.
How could you improve the facilities at stop locations?
Well, we could have a coffee room at each one, a little tea shop. That's probably not really being very serious, but they've all been upgraded, so they all have security monitoring. They have up-to-date newsletters and items, and it's very clearly marked, particularly on all of the new it's clearly marked on all of the pontoons and stops, but on the new ones, it's even more graphic with a really big river map, and it shows you all of the stops. You just can't. I don't think you can do anything.
Do you think public transport is cost effective, and should there be a free zone within the Brisbane CBD?
Absolutely, and we do have a free zone on the City Hopper. There is a free zone for all travellers on the City Hopper, which runs from Sydney Street to North Quay, so it wraps right around the city, and that's available from 5:30 in the morning until 12:30 at night, so that's a really good offer. And the other thing I said was for the senior citizens and the disadvantaged to be able to have a bigger opportunity to travel for either a discounted or a free rate.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see families have a discounted rate.
Yeah,
B. I'm not the mayor though, so I can't really.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion. I think public transport is quite expensive for families, because I know a lot of families that we carry around on the weekend who come from out of Brisbane.
Yeah.
They'll come from the Gold Coast or the Sunshine Coast or even further afield, and it's very expensive for them to come and have a day out in the city.
Yeah. Do you think they need to do more maintenance more regularly?
Maintenance is an ongoing issue, because you have so many people on public transport all the time, and when you're working with the elements like the ocean and the salt, you do have to keep the maintenance up. But we have a good maintenance crew, so maintenance is ongoing.
Great. Do you think there should be more park and ride facilities?
Yes,
if
I
so,
do.
Where?
Park and ride. I think they should be at every stop. I think North Shore should have a major stop, and I think UQ should have a major stop for park and ride. Even as an employee of the public transport, we struggle to get parking. So it is a big issue. And park and ride. So both ends of the river, and maybe New Farm Park.
Yeah, definitely. Do you use public transport?
I do. I use public transport all the time because of the cost of parking and the issue with parking in major areas, particularly the CBD. The high traffic areas are really hard to park in, around sporting venues. So we use park and ride, and a lot of people in Brisbane use park and ride for that reason, but there's not enough of them.
Yeah. Do your co-workers use public transport, and would you use public transport more if your friends or co-workers used it with you?
I don't think that affects me. I use public transport because it's convenient for those reasons I just noted. And I know a lot of my friends and co-workers do use public transport too, because the parking is too expensive. And sometimes it's not 100% reliable with the parking meters.
Where are the most populated areas for transport?
The most populated areas for transport.
Disembarking from
do you mean as
just go touch off as you disembark.
The congestion?
Yeah.
The most populated areas for transport?
Yeah.
I'm fairly new to Brisbane. I'm from North Queensland, and I've only been here for 3.5 years, but I'd say around shopping centres.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome. My name's Kat.
My name's Mia, this is Alyssa and Xavier.
Thank you, girls. Nice to chat.